Great. Today I want to do 5 common mistakes that we make in Ghana when we are attempting real estate. Okay, and it's certain like due to maybe misconception or we are not aware. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. These things happen. Okay, so I'll just zoom into it. One, lack of due diligence. Okay, lack of due diligence. Okay, this is obviously the first mistake people do in real estate. This is a good thing and it's a big problem we have, because sometimes even the genuine people begin to request for things that they have read online and the like that. If you want to buy a land, ask for permit, ask for no permit, title, okay, ask for a lot of things, and it's creating some good and bad problems. But due diligence is good. Now, due diligence is this: if you don't own a product, you can't sell it. So if you want to buy a product, make sure that you're buying it from the owner. That's what it means. But when you deal with agents, I've seen it a lot of times. The agent is like, I don't want you to meet the owner and you come and do the deal behind my back and I don't get anything. So it makes the deal frustrating. The second deal is that sometimes you meet the owner and they are like, yo, you come next week. Each time you come, you have to bring schnapp, you have to bring money, you have to bring schnapp, you have to bring money. So people don't want to be meeting the owners. So that one also creates a lot of tension. I have my personal experience with those stuff. So I want to tell you things to look out for when you are buying land, okay? And sometimes it depending on the size of the land and the like, you cannot really authenticate it. So some of the experiences when they happen, I tell people that it's not like the person was deliberate about it. It's just the quantum of transaction, okay? And then the timeline of history that makes people not how is it called? Record keeping and the like, and people mess up, okay? But sometimes people can actually be deliberately terrible. So if you want to buy land, just confirm the ownership of the person who is selling it to you. The easiest way to do it is if you go and do a search at the Lands Commission, okay? And it's usually expensive, depending on where you are doing the search, okay? If you are buying $100,000 land, the search value is very negligible. But if you are buying 10,000 city land, then the search value becomes very interesting. But I can show you different ways that you can authenticate that. If possible, walk the land you are trying to buy. When you walk it, you will see maybe the stones there. You ask, whose stones are these? Whose name is on it? Why have they been broken and the like? So it will give you an idea of the kind of activities that are going on in that zone, okay? That's the first thing you need to do. Then secondly, after you make a commitment, this one you can only do after making commitment, it's good to just try to send people there, pour some sand there and those things. So the other thing you do with land transactions is that if possible, don't pay outright, if possible. This is not for you to go and ask for 6 months and 3 years payment plan. No. Okay. 2 months payment plan. Deposit 50% so that your risk of losing is 50% instead of all the money, okay? Then try to send people to the land. Send a trip of sand, 1,005 cedis. So it's better you lose 1,005 than you lose $20,000. So that people will now reach out to you, hey, why are you pouring sand on this land and those kind of things, okay? Just to test the occupancy and the social community knowledge. If you watch my previous video, I was telling you that that's why when you buy land, they have to introduce you to the community. Okay, so you introduce yourself to the community, you come and then people get to know you. That is also a good thing to do. Now, if you are doing due diligence, you would have asked for the site plan of the land. If there is, find out the name that is on it and ask if you can speak to that person. Okay, so they'll tell that, oh, that person is here or that person is there and those things. Okay, the son or something representative of that person, okay, if possible. The other thing is that if possible, get the lease agreement when you're halfway through. If you want to do that, you have to pay for it. Okay, because you are buying land from me, I cannot be paying for a lease agreement once you have not even bought land. It's not yours. Okay, if possible. And then the last one is when you are done buying, try to register ASAP. Okay, because sometimes, usually during the registration process, we realize some mishaps, okay? But it can be resolved soon. Once the owner who sold to you is still alive, it can be resolved soon. But if it takes you too long before you want to do that, and then informations have been jeopardized, then it becomes really difficult. So Don't skip due diligence. Always try to do it. Even when you start building, try to get the right permits and all those things. That'll be the second issue. So let me just write it. Okay. Building without permits. Okay. Sorry, I just moved into it. If you want to build, get permits. Get an architect. Okay. This is why architects make money than civil engineers, because they are the first person of contact when you start building. Get an architect to make a design for you. Depending on the pedigree of the building, you might not need a civil engineer. Civil engineers, the truth is that we're actually trained for big jobs. That's the challenge we have in places like Ghana. There are not too many big jobs. That's why we are beginning to fight with construction, what's the name? Technicians for small jobs. But in school, we were trained for big jobs, okay? So if the job is not too big, a construction tech can actually understand. But if the job is big, you need a civil engineer. Now, what happens is this. The architects can be familiar with small jobs, the structural elements. But if it's a big job, they don't know those stuff, okay? So then you need a civil engineer to usually design the structural elements. Now, sometimes and mostly, if the job is big, when the structure is designed, the designer should be different from the person who authenticates it or studies it or passes it. So there is something, you check your building drawings, you see that designed by, drawn by, checked by. Then the person who checks now stamps it and certifies that this is a good design. So you need your civil engineer and the other experts to come and check. So the electrical engineer will check the electrical drawing or do the electrical drawing for if it's bigger, okay? Then the MES, the mechanical engineer, will check. If it's a bigger job, he has to draw it himself, but if it's a smaller job, the architect can do it. All these experts begin to come in. So you see that when a big job is becoming bigger, then you need experts because your mistakes will become very costly. So you have to pay these experts very well. So the deal is, when you begin to use small building mindset to build big projects, then you are going to lose your $1 million because you successfully built some $20,000 building in your hometown. That's the challenge. So get these people to check it. Resume. Yeah, so you need to get building permits, okay? You need to get fire permits. You need to get environmental sustainability permits. Then sometimes you even need to get a water resource permit, depending on the pedigree of the project. A lot of times people think, oh, let's be building it and let's see. When you go through the permit process, you will become informed about the zoning of the area. The industries around, is it allowed for farming? Because imagine you build and then there's a poultry in your area, and then you go and say, oh, the poultry, there are too many flies worrying us, and then they tell that, oh, that place was zoned for agriculture. You are completely finished. You will not understand this until you have that crisis. Okay, so those kind of stuff are there. If there is an earthquake line, okay, if there is a water line, they will tell you. Those things are there. Sometimes you think Ghana systems are not working. No, it's because you've not been caught up in it. There are water buffers, okay, or river buffers. So you want to buy some land off the river. If you want to go and take permits, they will tell you that place there's a river coming. That place there's a dual carriage coming. That place there's a high tension coming. There's a water line underground. Nobody builds there. It would have saved you a lot of stress. So sometimes these kind of things, you will not even know when you are buying the land. But at least you have lost the money for the land. Now you would have saved money from the building. Because imagine you complete building and they come and tell you, oh, this land is Legon farmland, so they are coming to raise everything off. Or this place is, what's the name of those kind of stuff? So you have to really go through the permitting process. It helps you a lot. It saves you a lot of crises. Lots of people have lost their buildings because of this kind of neglect. Okay, so always think about it. Let's go to the next one. Underestimating, okay, construction cost. There's a verse in the Bible that says that which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, will not go to make estimates to see if the money he has can be enough to build. This is one of the biggest national crises in Ghana. Construction cost. Oh, you ask your uncle, the house, 2-bedroom house. I've had calls like that. Someone will just call me, oh, if they want to build a 2-bedroom house, how much will it cost? I said, I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't know the size of the house. I don't know the location of the house. I don't know the kind of foundation you are going. I've not even seen the design. Okay? And I don't even know the people you are using to build. And I don't know the quality of materials or work you are expecting. This is the biggest problem in Ghana. Because sometimes 2-bedroom house. Yesterday I saw a 2-bedroom house that is 150 square meters. My 2-bedroom apartment is 52 square meters. Now maybe 60 square meters. I can remember the initial one and the final one. When I checked, it's 60 square meters. So that house is 3 times bigger than my house. How on earth will I expect a house 3 times bigger than my house? Finished with security doors, 2 security doors, no, 3 security doors, front security door, back security door, and then there's a top rooftop security door. My house has a wooden door at the entrance. You understand? Glazing down. My house has louvers. Do you get me? Huge kitchen. My house has a very tight kitchen. Do you get it? Has 3 washrooms. My house has 1 washroom. All these things are cost elements. Washrooms are the most expensive part of a building. So by the mere fact that you are having more washrooms, oh, I don't want people to be moving from one room to the other. I don't want the guests to come into my bedroom and the like. The cost of your building is going high. So if you don't do this, you may think, oh, but my uncle built for less. Where are you building? Who are building? Is Engineer Vigolo coming to site or is just some masons? Once I come there, you are spending 10% more. Anyway, but I hope you're understanding me. The next one under this, let me just put it somewhere here. It's been a big issue. People don't know or people don't talk about it. It's called cost creep, not cost creep. Scope creep. Scope creep is this. You want to build a 2-bedroom house. Then when you start building, like, oh, I saw this somewhere. Can we make the bedroom bigger? Can we make the washroom longer? Can we put a bathtub? Can we change it to LED lights? You know, then you begin to get ideas. All those ideas come at a cost. But they still want to spend the same amount that they heard that someone spent in Nigeria to build a 2-bedroom house, to build theirs in Accra. You can't do that. Okay, or in Texas, sometimes even transportation and logistics. I once had a call. Someone wanted me to come and build a house in Bronga Hafo. I said, how many bedrooms? He said 3. I said, no, I won't come. He said, why? You don't want money? I said, I want money. But if any time I want to do that, I have to drive to this thing, Bronga Hafo, every week. My transportation alone is 2,000 Ghana cedis. Then if I don't do a return journey, my night space, so every week 2,500, every month 10,000. If we finish building the house in 2 years, we would have built another 2-bedroom house in my pocket. But if it were a big hotel project, if it were something really big, then we can come. It can absorb my cost. You understand? The scope creep. So you begin to have fancy ideas that were not built into the initial cost. So as much as possible, get a quantity surveyor. What people don't know, a lot of time that young, ambitious guys want to build, they reach out to me and I do estimates for them. I don't do those estimates myself. I give it to a quantity surveyor to do. So sometimes they're like, hey, if you go, you're pushing it. I say, no, there's my estimate that I can engineer's estimate, snap my house, I tell you. But once you want to build, I give it to a quantity surveyor. So they're like, oh, Vigolo, can you just do this for me? This one, brothers. I'm like, you have to pay. They're like, oh. But I said, but I'll pay my guy who will do that work 2,000 cedis for small jobs, 5,000 for big jobs. So you are asking me for 5,000. I would rather give you 500 cedis and wish you well. So I've lost a lot of jobs because of that scope creep and construction estimate. Because once you don't appreciate the cost from the onset, you are going to have a tough time in the future. You see that job that you should have done in 3 years, you will do it forever. Okay. I don't know whether I should actually. There's an idea in my head that I want to show you. If you want to build a house, 100,000 Ghana cedis house, okay? 100,000. Is there a house for 100,000? Let's do 400,000. 400K, 2-bedroom, okay? If you want to build 400K, 2-bedroom. 400K, 2-bed, okay? In 3 years. Okay. You should buy a land that is 50,000 cedis. Okay. Okay, land. Okay. Then when people buy a land that is 50K, they want 6 months payment plan. So 6 months is already gone. Okay, then you do the design phase and permitting and all those things. Another 6 months gone. Okay. Okay. So design those things, it will cost you just maybe 25,000 on the high side, but 25K. Okay. So 75,000 gone. Okay. You have how much left? You have 325 left. K left. This is the problem. You have lost 1 year. Okay. So if inflation is 25%, which is very fair for Ghana, your 400K house, okay, in 1 year would have income 500,000 house. So by the time you start building a job that I wanted to do in 3 years, in 1 year you have not started. Your 400,000 house has become 500,000. So you would need 450,000, 425K, 425K, 5K to build this same house. If you are smart enough, you begin to get angry that you wanted 400K house, you bought the land, you did this. Now you need 200, 425. You even need more than when you started planning. You understand? If you are smart enough, you would have realized this early now. And you realize that the people you might get angry that it's the guys that are doing, but it's just the nature of things. That inflation, you didn't put in place inflation. That's why sometimes you mention dollars, because inflation on the dollar is about 2-3%. The inflation on cedi is 25%. Okay. So now that your building has become more expensive to build. Then if you don't realize this, if you're not smart enough to realize this, you would have started the foundation. Okay, so the foundation would be maybe just 50,000. So you would have been doing the foundation from this. So after 50,000, you have 275. Then you raise it to superstructure, maybe just 100,000. So you have 175 done. So you'd have done the roofing, 2-bedroom house roofing, 70,000. You have 100,000 done. Then you'll be tempted to now fence it. So the fence would have cost you 75,000 for a small 2-bedroom house. You have 25,000. Now your money is finished. This journey would have taken you another 1 year if you are rich. If you really had the money, in another 1 year, you would have been done with this. Your house will now become 625,000 house, 625K house. But you have invested this money. Your 400,000 is finished. Now, this is the reason why people say when you are building, start small, because your 400,000 house is now worth 625,000. But unfortunately for you, you didn't finish building it. So you now need 225,000 to enjoy that value you were thinking. Are you getting it? So the stories are there. Oh, cement price is going up, so your building is appreciating. Those issues are true if you are able to build within a year or two. That's why I advise people to build really fast. But the moment you plan to build in 5 to 10 years, you would be incurring a lot of scope creep, cost creep, and then the projects become more expensive, and then your pacing is becoming slower, because usually once you start thinking to build, because you have some big money, now the big money is running out and the building is not completed. Your building now costs 60% more in 2 years. After 50% of inflation, the effective inflation is 60%. So you have to be thinking about these things when you are building, and you have to be careful. If you want to build a house and you don't have more than 50% of the money, it's good you don't build, unless you are an innovative real estate mogul who can get investors and those stuff, which is as difficult as going to heaven. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, so the next common mistake would have been hiring what? Unqualified contractors. I think I've said this one over again. Okay, you have to hire someone. Just if you see international jobs, not international, government jobs, big jobs, very well standardized jobs, they even rank contractors according to the equipments that we have, the number of staff, the job you've done before, the money you have in your account. Okay, it tells you what kind of job that can be done. Okay, and I'm telling you that these things have been done upon experience and studying issues. Okay, and I've told some, what did I say that, like law, There are case studies. So they study cases and like that, oh, this guy messed up because he's not done a big jump before. Oh, this guy messed up because he didn't have civil engineers on site. Oh, this guy messed up because there was a crisis, there was a national disaster, there was inflation, those kind of things. Okay. So each job has the kind of person that can build it. If you want to build a 2-bedroom house, you can let your junior brother's ex-wife, big brother, build it for you. Okay, it's not a problem. 2-bedroom there, and yes, but if you want to build a hotel complex, you need a professional. You need someone who is capable, someone who have done it before, someone who have done something maybe smaller or something bigger, something in that space. Okay, the person understands the stress and troubles that come with this kind of thing. Okay, for it. Don't think, oh, this person have done this. And people are ambitious and people like to do big jobs. I would love to do a big job. Okay, just that maybe I'm so conscious, but I would love to do a big job. If I do a bigger job, I'll certainly be richer than this. Jobs just have that tolerance for finance, but you have to be mindful about this. Okay, otherwise you'll crash. I don't want to talk about this one too much because I don't even know whether you will listen. But just be mindful so that you don't crash. Okay. Now the last one. Looks like all these things are big national crises, so I'm the one that is hyping the issue. Ignoring, okay, infrastructure or location factors, okay. This is a big issue. The issue about this is a lot of people buy lands that are good for investment. Oh, they are building and investing in the area. You has, like the land I'm selling. Then you buy. The road is going to come. The light is going to come. So you bought it for just 50,000 cedis. Then you decide to build a hotel complex there. Even your tipper trucks cannot get to site. Nobody is coming to stay there now. Okay, nothing is going on there. And in 2 years, you are done because you've listened to all my other advices. I'm crazy. Anyway, so if there is someone who does this successfully in Ghana, his name is First Guy. He has the money. He will build the road himself. He will bring the water. He will bring the light and all those things. He understands the other principles of cost that I've taught and is making good money. But if you are not that powerful, then you go and build a nice house in the wilderness, like the one that was by the river that I showed and people wanted to kill me. Uncompleted. 50 rooms. Uncompleted. Once you could have built 25 rooms and complete it. You understand? Now you have 50 rooms uncompleted. It's not yielding any money for you. It's going to cost you 2 times more to finish. So you cannot finish it. Right now you're on retirement or something, okay? Or you finish it and the road is not good, so people are not coming. You finish it and the light is not stable, so Americans don't come. The people with the dollars, they don't come. Only your community people. Only when there is a funeral and your uncle is dead, that your nephews and nieces will come and beg you, uncle, please, we don't have money. There's funeral, so the room is 300 cedis. Can we pay 100 cedis? You are doing charity. You are not Bill Gates. You understand? So you always have to think about it. You build it, and then every 10 years there is a flood. It enters your room. Every 10 years there is a flood. It enters your room. You have to think about that. Okay, because I know people like riverfront so much. Okay, you build it, and then people don't like that place too much. The place is a seasonal market. Kwewu, only Easter. You go and build a big house there. Only Easter. The house only makes money 2 months in a year. It doesn't make sense. Okay. You build the road to that place is bad. It doesn't make sense. Okay. Your family is too close to the place. You build a big house and your family members have come to invade the house. You are still the one paying lights, you are still the one paying water, you are still the one paying everything. And when the roof is leaking, they call you that your house, the roof is leaking. I hope my family people don't watch this video. They may know why I refuse to build in my hometown. Okay. So I hope this is nice and this is fair. Think about it. Let me know in the comments if you've made some of these mistakes. Sometimes when I tell first-time builders, they don't understand. So I tell people that your first building project is going to be a terrible mistake. Okay, because you've not gone through this. These things I usually learned from experience. And I'm telling you that it's too bitter to learn these things from experience. So for those of you who have done these mistakes, please share in the comments. For the youngsters to see that this is not theory. This is not theory, it's not in any book. I wrote this thing. Unless you ask ChatGPT. See you in the next class.